From somewhere above the 45th parallel, where the night sky keeps its secrets and occasionally drops them into the ocean, this is Sunny with Nite Muse Media. Welcome. Tonight, we travel to the coast of northern Queensland, Australia, where beachgoers recently discovered something unusual resting in the sand. Not a jellyfish or a buoy, or a lost volleyball from a cruise ship. 6 large metallic spheres washed ashore near a small community of Forrest Beach. Now, they were smooth, heavy-looking, and weathered by the sea, mysterious enough to rally the police, the firefighters, hazmat crews, and the Australian Space Agency. Well, naturally, the internet gave them a name before scientists had finished putting on their gloves. Spaceballs, yes, not to be confused with the 1987 Mel Brooks spoof. The first objects appeared in early July of 26. More followed over the next few days until 6 pieces had been recovered from the coastline. Emergency crews established exclusion zones of roughly 164 feet. And some responders, they wore hazardous material suits because no one initially knew whether the spheres still contained fuel, pressurized gas, or any other unpleasant souvenir from orbit. And that's probably a very wise approach when a strange metallic object falls out of the sky or it arrives by sea after falling out of the sky. The correct response is probably not, hey, let's bring it into the garage and open it with a drill. The Australian Space Agency later announced that the objects appeared to be pressure vessels from a space launch vehicle. Now, these vessels are used aboard rockets to use gases or propellants under high pressure. Many are built from strong heat-resistant materials, such as titanium alloys and wrapped composite fibers. They're engineered to survive the violence of the launch. Apparently, some of them are also quite good at surviving the return trip. Picture the journey. A rocket body circles Earth at thousands of miles per hour. Eventually, gravity and atmospheric drag begin collecting the overdue rent, and the vehicle descends. Now, much of it burns apart in a brilliant streak across the sky. Panels tear away and metal melts. Components tumble through the superheated air. But deep inside that little bit of collapsing machinery, a reinforced pressure tank remains largely intact. It drops into the ocean and then it floats. For days or perhaps weeks, it drifts with the current until the sea quietly delivers it to a beach. No fancy announcements and shipping labels, just a large silver sphere waiting beside the surf like a package addressed to planet Earth. Officials said the location and construction of the objects were consistent with debris from a foreign rocket body that had recently re-entered the atmosphere. The exact launch vehicle and country of origin had not yet been publicly confirmed as the investigation continued. And now comes an interesting legal question. Who owns a piece of spacecraft after it falls from orbit and lands on another nation's beach? Well, under international space law, ownership does not necessarily vanish when the hardware comes crashing back to Earth. The launching nation may retain a claim to the debris, and Australian authorities may have to contact the country to determine whether it wants its property returned. So, unfortunately, finding a space ball does not automatically mean you've acquired the world's most unusual lawn ornament. There is also a growing modern problem hiding behind the novelty, though. Humanity is launching more rockets, satellites, and more equipment than ever before. Most hardware is intended either to remain in orbit or burn up safely during reentry. But unintended is a wonderfully flexible word, is it not? Dense and reinforced components, well, they can survive. They may land in oceans, deserts, farms, or on a particularly awkward afternoon, somebody's backyard. Actually, injuries, though, from falling space debris, they remain extraordinarily rare. The odds of being struck are far smaller than the odds of being caught in a thunderstorm or bitten by an angry dog or trapped in a long conversation about someone else's cryptocurrency. Still, the sky is no longer empty. It contains the remains of thousands of missions, machines, and experiments, some active and some dead, and some slowly working their way home. Now, before we continue, please subscribe to Nite Muse Media, like the program, share it with someone who enjoys the strange borderline where science and mystery meet. Every subscription helps us keep watching the skies, following the signals, and questioning that noise. For now, Australian space balls appear to be pieces of rocket hardware, not alien probes and secret eggs. Probably not the first move in an interplanetary bowling tournament, but they are still remarkable. They began as precision-engineered machinery on Earth. They were launched into space, circled the planet, survived a fiery plunge through the atmosphere, and then fell into the ocean. And then after all of that, they rolled onto a quiet beach and waited for someone to notice them. Sometimes the universe doesn't knock on the door. Sometimes it just washes up with the tide. And I'm Sunny. This is Nite Muse Media. Follow the signals, question the noise, and I'll see you on the night side.